Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Books Nelson with the At Me Bro Show, and we're gonna get right into it. So, 2K just dropped patch 1, which is, you can't see my air quotes, but you can hear them in my voice, fixing, you hear the air quotes, fixing the shot stick and shooting in 2K. But did they fix it or did they make it worse? So we're gonna run some tests here. So I'm, going right to the point. I think they've made it much worse, basically from every angle, with the exception of those of you who are using the button, particularly who aren't using a meter, might find it easier to shoot now. Outside of that, everything else seems to be pretty bad news, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm not doom and glooming. A bunch of other people, what's up, Spac? A bunch of people have already shown this going on. So right here, you see me on the superstar screen, showing superstar difficulty, because that's going to be consistent. That's going to be consistent with the toughest settings you'll find online. Online is never set to Hall of Fame, right? So we're gonna go to the ball machine here, and I'll describe to you exactly what's going on. I forgot to check if I don't have meter. It doesn't matter. If I have meter on, I'll show you what's wrong with it. If I have meter off, I'll show you the other side of what's wrong with it. So let's see. Do we have a meter? We do not have a meter, which is good. Okay. So the problem is basically once you're dead center on the stick, and we're going to find the center point shortly. Okay, there we go. So we find the center point. You're going to see now everything from here on out is going to be probably green if I could just keep my hand still. I usually do it with my left hand so that when I'm pressing the button, it doesn't move the stick. And the problem with this is that when if somebody mods their controllers, or even like digs a groove into their controller, and DBG was trying to do it, but you would have to open your controller and do it on like the inside. Once you find that center point with the meter off, it goes in 100% of the time if you have a decent shooting rating. You see here, green after green after green after green. It'll never change as long as the stick is in exactly the right place. As you can see, I'm talking to you guys and doing this live, and I'm just never gonna miss a shot. Right, like I'm literally never gonna miss a shot. Now this is my play shot, who I chose because I wanted to show you guys the absurdity of high rated shooters, because this is what is going to concern one large portion of the 2K community. So anybody who has a play shot, or anybody who's playing against a play shot, you are going to come up against someone who is doing this to you. And this shouldn't even be possible in the game. That's my problem, is this shouldn't even be possible. This is not, you guys can see on screen, green, 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 over and over. If you missed the beginning of the video, I'm on superstar difficulty right now, and I'm talking, and you see here, I'll move the stick a little bit. There we go, we're back in the middle. And literally I can sit here and I can green like 200 out of 200 doing this. So obviously this is bad news. So the rich get richer in terms of the characters who can shoot are going to be able to shoot that much better. So that's bad news. Let's see. I mean, so what I'm doing there is I'm just holding it straight down. So the danger here is, and we know there's always been tales of people in the 2K community using scripted controllers and stuff like that. So now what's going to happen is there are going to be people, especially at the top competitive level. For the average user, this might not be an issue. But for the user in the 250K tournament, the user playing Pro-Am, in the ranking ladder, like if you just run Park, you might not see it that much. But anybody in any competitive form of the game, you're going to come across people with modded controllers that are essentially, they have a automatic shoot button. And it makes the quick stop that much more powerful. People are going to be quick stopping like that and pulling up right away. And it's going to be green, green, green every time. It's literally the most powerful shooting we've ever seen in 2K ever. And that's the illegitimate version, is the most powerful version. So let's go on. So, and just briefly, I'll go into the button is definitely easier. You can see there, it's my first button jumper here, and it was automatically green. See me hitting a full white there. So if you're an honest player, button shooting is the way to go. I think stick shooting is officially dead. So there are two major reasons that stick shooting is dead. One, the most powerful forms of shooting are now on the are on the button and on the meterless stick, right? So what I was showing you guys before, it was, you know, if I pull the stick down and I have it dead center 100%, it's going to go in 100% of the time with no meter. Now, the stick is not a viable option, I don't think, if you're not like doing some kind of trickery. But the point is that the trickery option is there. Now, if you are on the stick and you're playing normal, as you can see here, I'm making a bunch of whites. You can still, this is still a viable option if you're good at centering the stick, or if you have like a groove dug in. I don't think a groove dug in gets you to the point of totally, when I say groove dug in, I mean like a minor light groove dug into the bottom of your stick to make sure that you're always relatively in the middle. You will make enough whites that that'll be totally worth your time. As you can see here, I'm making white after white after white. So that's there. So, and this is no meter. So no meter is basically broken. So in exchange, and you see there, got a center green. So now I'm going to show you guys what the legitimate shot stick has turned into. I'm going to put the shot stick back on real quick. So my problem with this is that because the no meter is so powerful, like that's basically the way you have to play. Like if you're if you put the meter on, I don't know, like you're just accepting a lesser version of the game. But with I should have put it on ball machine. But so this is what the shot meter looks like now. You can see here it's going to pop up all over the place, and it seems to, I'm not sure if it's popping up later, but I can tell you I do not have a lot of time to see where the shot meter is randomly going to be at and make an adjustment to the center of the window. Like that's just, and guys, I'm the one who, you know, made a tutorial on how to be good at the shot meter before. Now, with the shot meter popping up, they say it's not random, it's according to the speed that you pull it down, but nobody is going to be pulling this thing down at exactly the same speed every time. So you're going to be having to react because your adrenaline's up during the game. Different defenses are going to be on you at different times. You're catching different shots. Like, to ask for the muscle memory of the shot speed to have the meter appear in exactly the same place every time is just not realistic. To have it be that drastic, right? So I'm pulling it down slow here, you know, and it was to the left. I'm going to try and pull it down faster, and it also doesn't even seem consistent. So that was a fast pull down, and then it was over to the right. So if you pull it down faster, it'll always be to the right. If you pull it down slower, it should always be to the left. I can tell you that it doesn't necessarily feel like that's about right, and it's very hard to get a green, and that's the point. So the video I made for you guys before was basically you can control how close to the center window you are in terms of being in the gray zone, and then you could just make a minor adjustment. Now, being so far, the reason this doesn't work is because that's too many muscle memory. It's too many muscle memory programs for you to learn, right? So the reason it worked before is because you basically had a macro adjustment and a micro adjustment if you already started from a place of skill. Now you have basically, if I pull up the shot meter, right, and you look at the shot meter on screen, because it can be really, really far to the left or right, the adjustment that you have can be a macro major, macro minor, you know, minor minor. It's just too much. It's just too much of an adjustment for you to be relying on that, particularly when the alternative, the button, is so easy, right? The button is so easy now. Oh, well, I have the meter on and I still got a white. But yeah, the button with no meter is so easy in comparison to that system that I anticipate literally no one's going to use the meter on shot stick is dead. I think that's completely dead. The only two things it's good for, I still think it's going to be viable for layups, which I'll show you real quick now for the same reasons. When you go up with the layup, you go up to, actually it did move all over the place just there too. I wonder if it works the same for layups. Yeah, it was left the other time, it's right this time. It might have been ruined for layups too. So bottom line is, I think the shot stick adjustments that they've made are all bad, 100%. And the only thing I would say it's really good for is leaning shots, because you have so much time to move it. And I would also say if you have a really, really slow jumper, you could probably use it and still find a lot of success. So maybe if you're a stretch big and you're like way out there and people are sagging off you, you're playing against bums who for some reason don't guard stretch fives, then it might still be viable. So on leaners and maybe for stretch fives, it's viable, but overall, everybody should just switch to the button and no meter. And in particular, switching to the button and cheating with the shot stick is what some people are going to be doing. And just bringing basically an aimbot into 2K, the potential for an aimbot, I think we can all agree that that's a really bad idea. So I would say this patch is overall a general negative. So going forward, going forward, here's the other thing. People are complaining that play shots are too powerful. And I agree. Play shots are too powerful. And I have a play shot. This is my play shot right here. Right? So they are way too strong. I don't even have my play shot all the way upgrade. I mean, he's pretty upgraded. But I haven't even put all of the VC into him because he's fine the way he is. I just started working on my second character for fun so I can start experimenting with it for you guys. But you can see by the ratings. I mean, this character is outstanding. 93. I don't have my Gatorade on, I don't think. That's why that's the 88 speed. That should be a 92 speed. And when he's a 99, it's going to go up to 96 speed. So he's going to be a 96 speed character with, 92 ball handle, a 94 three-point shot, a 97 mid-range shot, and a 67 driving dunk. And the reason the play shots are so good is everybody else is having trouble shooting. Okay, so before I go into this, Ismail's asking, wait, how do you do it? How do I do what? Specify your question. How do I do what? So the play shots are so powerful because they're the only ones who can shoot at a really high clip from the guard position right now. Although those, perimeter locks are shooting really well too. But they can shoot, they can dribble, and their dunking has been buffed for some reason. And I had this exact same build last year, and he almost never dunked. And I mean, he dunks sometimes on a fast break and stuff like that. But this guy dunks in traffic on people with a 63 dunk at 6'3" with minimum wingspan. So they buffed the threshold at which you get good dunks. So essentially the play shot is a perfect character, which is why everybody's going to be using play shots. Now, here's the thing. They've added this shooting, which makes it easier for play shots, right? If shooting's easier for everybody else, it's also going to get easier for play shots. And the same thing with the ankle breakers. People are complaining that playmakers aren't good enough. The reason playmakers aren't good enough is because they've had their dunking taken away. They don't dunk as well as they used to. So now a playmaker and a play shot dunk roughly at the same level, and the playmakers don't shoot as well as they used to before. So you've had your dunking reduced, you've had your what do you call it? Your shooting reduced, and I get a 96 speed after I hit 99 too. So what, 3 more speed points? Now look, you can go max wingspan, you can make your player a little taller, which makes them a general all-round build more so than the play shot. Like your defense would be a little better, your closeout speed, your ability to rebound and contest at the rim, but nobody cares about that. If you can dribble as well and shoot 10 times better, the play shot's just a superior build all around. And when you get your ankle breakers as a playmaker, that's not going to make playmakers better. That's going to make play shots better. Because play shots are going to get ankle breakers too. So they're going to get ankle breakers and be pulling up from range extended range while you're falling down off of a screen. They're going to be 100% impossible to stop. So people are asking for these ankle breakers to come back, but good luck. But that's not really what this video is about. This video is really about patches in general. The funny thing about this is we said we like the game. Like, so many content creators and people who are playing the game, they're like, we have our issues with it, but we're scared of a patch. And this is exactly why we're scared of a patch. Because they've patched this and they essentially broke shooting 100%. Right? Like, the legitimate shot meter is impossible to use, right? And again, I made a 25-minute video on how to use the old shot meter when everybody was complaining about how hard it was. So I'm going to be the last person to be like, this is too hard, don't do it. I'm just telling you mechanically why it's too hard. Mechanically, the new shot meter is too difficult, specifically because the variety of range of motion that you have to have and the window in which you have it is not viable versus the button. That's why. Look, if somebody sat in there all day and worked on the shot meter, could they be reasonably successful with it? Sure. Would that ever be better than no meter button shooting? Absolutely not. And beyond that, when you turn off the meter, you have access to the totally broken, just straight down dead center shot stick mod, which again, I know a lot of people are going to be using. I mean, not a lot of people, but a lot of people at the top level are going to be using. And you're going to be wondering, how is this guy such a great shooter? How is he such a phenomenal shooter, getting green after green after green after green? It's because when you hold down on the shot stick with no meter, every shot goes in. And guys, so I'm doing this, you guys, you saw I have really good shot ratings on this character, but I'm telling you, you need, I think, a 70 shot to gain the benefits of this shot meter, no shot meter cheese. I think a 70 shot is the threshold. So I have a two-way slasher, and he has a 68 in the mid-range, and he has a 48 from 3 right now with his upgrades, right? I'm just going to sit here and green three-pointers on superstar difficulty while I talk to you, showing how broken this is. We'll just sit here and green every shot because that's a good patch. So with his 68 mid-range, it's about 9 out of 10. And with his 48 mid-range, it's about 4 out of 10 with this shot stick cheese. So I anticipate that any build, and these are the people who are really going to break the game, any build that has a 70 3-point shot will be able to hit every three-pointer with this shot stick cheese. Maybe 9 out of 10, which obviously is just, extremely high. Can I give the cliff notes for what's in the patch? Absolutely. So basically they changed a whole bunch of things apparently, but they haven't given out all of the patch notes. I'm specifically focused on the changes that they made to the shooting. So bottom line is they changed the shot meter so that there's some weird timing thing involved that causes the, if you use the stick, you need to use a certain amount of timing. That makes it impossible. Not impossible. It moves the meter way to the left or way to the right, as opposed to you pulling it down and being close to the dead center window. And what that does is it makes it impossible for you to use that in a competitive environment because there's just not enough time, especially when you're online and the meter might be showing up a little late sometimes. There's not enough time for you to see where the gray area is and hit the green window of the gray area, right? So I don't think that's viable. Also, they improved the button shooting so that you can green more. You can green more shots when you're shooting with the button with no meter in particular. It feels like a much bigger green window. And as you can see here, if you go no meter and you leave the aiming on and you pull it down dead center, as you can see me doing on screen, I'm shooting dead center. You'll hit every shot if you have a decent shot rating. For safety's sake, let's say 75 or above, but I think as low as a 70, you'll hit roughly every single shot. You guys can see this is a live video. There's not a pre-recording. You can see me greening every single shot while I talk to you guys because this is how broken it is. So people with modded controllers are going to be impossible to stop. It'll be worse than an aimbot in a first-person shooter. Because in a first-person shooter, you at least have cover. You don't have a glass lock screening you, a pure lockdown, hitting you with a brick wall, giving your opponent this shot right here. Again, this is 100% live, and every shot is going in. This is ridiculous, right? And this is a superstar difficulty. If you guys didn't see at the beginning of the stream, I'm on superstar difficulty right now because that's consistent with online. DBG says that superstar difficulty is the same as Hoff shooting. So there you go. So yeah, turn your meter off and make every shot. Now, the one thing that might be good news for other people, for other builds, is your build might be able to shoot now, which might, help out with the balance of which builds you feel are viable. Although I feel like it was just a skill gap. I feel like it really was just a skill gap. I already started seeing people on other builds start to really cash out. I play with the glass lock who was shooting pretty well. So, I don't think it was a problem. I think they just needed to give the game more time, give people more time to acclimate to the skill level. But effectively, now it's broken. I think the game is basically completely broken. It might not affect you if you're not dealing with cheaters, but the fact that it has the potential to be broken is terrible news for the competitive community. This is one of the worst patches of all time that 2K has ever released. And that's saying something because the patches last year, every community was really upset, at the patches last year. And now is a situation where I think unanimously we can all agree that what you're seeing on screen right now is completely unacceptable. I'm just holding my stick in one spot and hitting the spot over and over again. So, I mean, and this will affect people even who aren't like cheating per se. The reason this is going to affect you is because if people can just mark their thing with their stick with a pencil. Like if you have a white controller or a lighter controller, you can literally just mark the spot with a pencil that you're supposed to be at and hold your stick down and sit in the corner waiting. And those people will still make it too. So we saying modded controllers for like general competition, but I don't even think that's the only issue here. I think there are other potential dangers of having this mechanic in the game. So yeah, so I don't know, man. I think that's basically it. Long story short, the shot stick is unusable. I don't recommend that you use the shot stick with the meter on. In fact, I don't recommend you use the meter for any reason anymore. Turn your shot meters off and work with the button. And if you want to be a cheesy cheater, definitely work with the shot stick with the meter off and figure out how to get dead center every time, and you'll literally never miss. So that's pretty much that. Bad news today. Bad news for the 2K community. This is a bad patch, bad update. And I'm going to hit the questions real quick and see what you guys are saying. Shout out to Orlando Till, Get Good. I know Spax in the chat. Freddie Calipari, Errol Muller. Thanks, guys, for showing up. Yeah, you thought it was a gap, but now it's just broke. Yep, 100%. Yo, Raps, thanks for that. I appreciate that. You said my vids are incredibly informative. Always try to do a service to the community. But all right, guys. So Jason Battle just got here. So long story short, first of all, so I'm on no meter. This is superstar difficulty. So they buffed no meter shooting, which is fine. I don't really care about that. The button shooting has been buffed so that it's easier like last year. Now I'm on a character with a 93-point shot, so I should be making a lot of shots without the meter. So that's one thing. But the problem, Jason, is that first of all, they broke the regular shot stick. Secondly, shot stick with no meter is still on aiming, right? So all I have to do is get it dead center once, and once I have it dead center, it'll be a green every single time. I've been doing that this whole video. Everybody's seen it. Me just making green shot after green shot after green shot. We'll just nudge it a little bit more. Maybe that'll do it. A little bit more. And once you get it dead center, you can hit literally 100 greens in a row because of the way the shot stick, let me back up to, I want to hit these threes. The way the shot stick has been utterly broken. And the problem is that people with modded controllers are going to be able to take advantage of it. I think people who sit in the corner are also going to be able to take advantage of it. So you're going to see it now. Yeah. So you see here, I'm at range extended range, and it's going to be green after green after green 100% of the time. And anybody who basically marks their stick, puts a nudge in their stick, gets a modded controller, they're going to be able to hit 100% of their shots with the shot stick on and the aiming and using with the shot stick and the meter turned off. They're going to be 100% accurate all the time. And yeah, shooting is more broken than it's ever been in any 2K game ever in the history of ever. So here you go. You see it right here live while I'm talking. I didn't even look at my controller while I'm doing this. I literally just, nudged it left, nudged it right, found the spot. And again, if you mark this spot, put a little nook in your controller. And most people have like 400 2K controllers anyway. 400 PlayStation controllers because they break all the time. Like if you're on PlayStation, you just take one of them old controllers that barely works, put a little notch in it. The corner sitters who are doing this with like catch and shoot, corner specialist, and hot zone hunter, they're gonna hit every shot on their builds now, because they can literally, like, if they like people who are playing with ISO people or even in rec pro-am, people who like don't have to move, that are just sitting in the corner playing 2K League style, they're literally going to line their controllers up and just hold it there. I think that's the primary danger that most people in Park and Pro-Am will have to deal with. With my team, it's a little less of a worry because you have to control the whole team, so you can't focus as much on your stick. But the big problem in my team is once those shooting ratings go up, again, putting that little nudge in your controller and getting fairly close to the center is also going to result in this in a lot of situations. Yeah, no matter where you run Russ N, it's the same notch no matter where. It's just center. You just hold the stick straight down. I'm making no adjustments whatsoever. I'm just holding the stick 100% straight down. And right there, guys, I just did it on the fly. So this might even be something that people can practice, which is really terrifying. Like you guys saw, I just ran to the side and did this. My controller is not modded. There is no notch in my controller. I'm just approximating it, and this is the success I'm getting. So imagine someone who's actually like cheating, you know? So yeah, they need to revert this patch ASAP. You said, what about the aiming? I'll show you, Jason. I'll show you right now. So what's happened with the aiming is they've broken the legitimate shot stick completely. So now instead of you centering it and, you know, being near the green window and doing like I showed in my previous video, now what happens is depending on the speed that you pull down the stick, the meter will be left or right. The problem is it's not slightly to the left or slightly to the right. It's extremely to the left and extremely to the right. Right? So that's extremely to the right, right? Me pulling down on the stick. I pull down fairly quickly. I'll pull down slower. So the problem is by the time the meter actually shows up and you see where it is, there's too much of a margin of error in terms of where the meter is going to wind up and where you need to make your adjustment. You know, it's not a precise thing. And the other thing is it's also going to vary depending on your controller too. Like controllers, the sticks have a different, like they design this as if these sticks are 100% equal and 100% perfect. And I use two different controllers. I use an Xbox controller and a PlayStation controller. So I can't use my Xbox controller with the shot meter because of the way the Xbox controller feels. And that's not true of any other game. So without having settings in the game for the shot meter at all of this stuff that they think is equal 100% across the board, actually, like you will find that you as a shooter would have to adjust based on how your controller behaves. So while I do think that people could practice this and get some semblance of competency with it, this is obviously nothing compared to what I just showed you, me green. I didn't even count. You guys could have counted. I'm sure I greened like 50 shots in a row at some point while talking to you, right? I'm not looking at my controller. I'm not, my controller's not modded or anything. And I green 50 times in a row. So if you have access to that, why would you do any of this foolishness? Now, I'm intentionally trying to bring the shot meter down with like a similar speed every time and stuff like that. But in the heat of battle, because of what you're doing on the sticks, there's going to be times that the shot meter, you're going to pull it down at a different time. And you see there, it's wide right. There was no way for me to know that was going to be wide right, right? That one was straight on point, full white in the midst. And that's the thing. It's like so I'm not talking about getting into the gray window. I'm talking about getting into the green window. Like getting into that green window is going to be a nightmare. Now, for people who only shoot leaners, the shot stick is still viable because you're going to have enough time during the leaner animation to hit these drifters and kind of reposition the stick. And the stick does feel smoother. I wish we could have just got that and nothing else. You can see there, like me just kind of easily sliding the stick forward. It appears they've played with the settings and made it much smoother and easier to use, which would have been awesome on the previous shot stick. But the way it is now, you can actually see my meter. I'll shoot a few more of these so you guys can see how smooth the meter is now. There's no jitteriness. It really feels nice, which is a tragedy because if this was the old shot meter, this would have been glorious. I mean, the shot meter, the right stick shooting would have been amazing if they would have just done this and not the other foolishness that they did. But unfortunately, they've got this thing where, the speed at which you pull down the stick changes where the meter is going to be, which obviously changes, which again, if it was slightly left or slightly right, it'd be totally viable. But the fact that it can be far left or far right means that there's no way for you to adjust, particularly because one of the problems with the shot meter is that the colors that it is makes it hard to see on certain background, on certain like courts and in certain times of the day during the park. specifically, and this is me speaking as an artist, specifically because of the gray color of the background and the sunlight that hits it, it's just too close, you know? So sometimes you kind of have to squint to see exactly where that shot meter is. And you guys can see, I'm telling you guys this, and with just a little bit of practice, I'm hitting greens. This is superstar difficulty with the shot meter, and I'm still recommending you do not do this. Do not do what I'm doing. I'm doing this as an example to like show you guys what it is. Do not practice this. Do not work on this. Turn off the meter and use the button. It is much easier. And for those of you who really want an advantage, turn off the meter and find a way to center your stick, either by legal or illegal means, and you'll literally hit every single shot, you know? So this would have been fine in a different environment, but it is nowhere near how broken everything else is. Let me check out the chat. Yeah, how does 2K expect you to know where the meter is going to be in the middle of the game? I completely agree. Again, on leaners and layups, you have time to like see it, but on a jump shot, there's just not enough time. There's just not enough time to see where the meter is and make the adjustment. Again, it's how far the meter is that's the mistake in all of this. You said you're going to use the meter in my league. Okay, good luck, man. But I'm telling you, depending on how far you pull down that stick, how fast you pull down the stick, the meter is going to be all over the place. So you want it to be challenging, it's definitely going to be very, very challenging, because it's one thing to get into the gray window. It's another thing to get into the green window and do that consistently with the meter jumping, you know, left and right and all over the place. I just don't think that's realistic. That's a realistic skill set to get. I mean, I didn't think the last shot meter skill set was that difficult, to be honest with you. But I thought the real skill ceiling for that was if you were on a lower rated character in terms of shooting, that you would master the shot stick so well that you would move on to tapping left trigger at the release point, and those bonuses would overcome your low shot ratings. I actually thought that was pretty brilliant, because that's a skill gap that's so small that you can kind of adjust, you know, and say, well, yeah, for those people, they deserve to shoot well with a 70 jumper because they're just that good. They've mastered that skill set. So basically, effectively, they have a higher rated character than you based on their stick skills, but it's a hard skill set because you're centering the shot stick and you're pressing left trigger at the time of the release and all that stuff. So if you want to have a 70 rated shot and shoot as well as somebody with a 90 plus rated shot, that was the skill cost. And I thought that was brilliant. Now, the skill cost just for regular shooting is just way too high compared to the button. I mean, the button is like super easy now. The button window feels enormous. I'm not even going to lie. And I mean with the meter off. With the meter on, you're still going to get like some whites there. It's still easier with the meter off than it was before. But I mean with the meter on than it was before. But I would say you're going to get the best results overall from turning the meter off. Because as I green 100 times in a row. So no more tap L2. No more shot stick, period. No more shot stick. Don't use the shot stick at all. But if you want to use the shot stick, the real cheese of the shot stick now is turning the meter off and dead centering it. No timing, no releasing it, no nothing. And you will literally make every single shot, which I showed early in the video. I greened like a bajillion shots over and over and over again. You know, showed it in full force, and it's just gross. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna end the video here. You know, oh, actually, before I end the video, yeah, please like the video. Thank you, I appreciate it. And let me see. Yeah, the aiming stick was fine. I totally agree, crazy girl. Shout outs to you. Looking forward to playing some more. Hopefully, they revert this patch as soon as possible. That's really why I'm putting this this video up, because I want them to revert this ASAP. Keep the steadier shot stick, but absolutely lose these changes overall. You can make... I don't like that they made button shooting so easy. It feels really easy. Like, I haven't practiced at all, and I'm shooting a whole bunch of greens, and I haven't been button shooting this entire time. Like, I've occasionally done button shooting. So if me being in here, and again, this is superstar difficulty, and I'm getting this many greens with zero practice, that means that there's no skill gap to shooting. It means once you get used to your jump shot, you'll basically hit every shot, and it's like it was in 2K20. And, you know, again, I have a very high rated shooter, so maybe that's okay. But if somebody's doing that with a 75 jumper, then it's just 2K20 all over again. And that's really bad news for my team, people. Because that means once people start getting into the high 80s and three-pointers and everybody starts getting gold badges, it's just going to be, you know, three-point hunting again. And I really thought the game that they released was pretty good this year. I think we all agreed on that. Not all of us, but most people were enjoying the game. And for some reason, they saw fit to get rid of that beautiful work that they did. And I don't know why. I thought they did a really good job. And once again the patches come to you know, ruin things. But that's it, guys. You know, shot meter's broken. No meter's broken. Shooting's dumbed down. It is what it is. I will see you all on the next one. Hopefully my next video will be cheerier than this, but I don't like it. Let them know. #revert the patch. I see y'all in the next one. Peace.